My dear people of Southern Cameroon's fellow Ambazonians, accept revolutionary greetings from me, John Ba Akuro. Today is Friday, October 29, 2021. Today, I'm coming here for us to discuss again some very important issues that have a bearing on our collective struggle for freedom. My people, I'm sure you must also already have seen on social media, because before going to do investigations, I also had a chance to see on social media that the people of a village in the Nun division, they call that village Njimom, that these people have risen to the occasion to begin doing exactly what I have been talking here about and what a lot of our people have been talking about that will happen to our people, to citizens of Ambazonia, citizens of the southern Cameroons who are either resident or working in La République du Cameroon. The lynching. This lynching, some people think it will just take the form of people gathering, getting you and knocking your head off and all. Well, no, it will take several forms. I'm going to, unveil not just what is on social media, but the additional information that I had from my contacts in Yaoundé at the Ministry of Defense, especially the Secretary of State in charge of the gendarmerie, and also at other places who are privy of exactly why this letter is out and what to expect in the days ahead. Before getting to that, take note that Mvogo, Achille Mvogo, the gentleman, the gendarme, let me call him gentleman, the reckless gendarme officer who brought down or cut the life of little baby Caroles in Biya, he will be interred next week. But that is not the news here. The news here is that the people of La République du Cameroon have taken it just another notch. And that is going to be one of the issues in discussion. And then, very interestingly, La République du Cameroon. Allow me to laugh at this point because it's important to laugh here. La République du Cameroon, at this moment I'm talking, is beginning to realize that this ongoing conflict between them and the people of the southern Cameroons is no longer internal. They can no longer be resolved by Mr. Paul Biya alone. They can no longer be resolved by the speeches and resolutions of the majorities at fake dialogue sessions that they organize in the Republic du Cameroon. They are beginning to recognize that it is important to bring in third parties. It is important to bring in the UN. Just hang on, relax as I delve into the viv of this discussion. I wouldn't take a lot of our time. Let me begin straight away with some important event that is going on at this moment in Canada. Sure, you have definitely heard from newspapers and on social media fora that the Coalition for Negotiation and Dialogue has organized a retreat. This retreat is bringing together leaders of the various movements and even armed groups in the southern Cameroons. The purpose of this retreat, I actually say retreat is not a conference, the purpose of this retreat is to help begin to create greater cohesion at the time we need it most, is to help bring people together, create avenue so that people begin to talk among themselves again and talk like seriously. So that people don't just say, okay, we'll talk among ourselves, but people take an engagement to begin talking among themselves very seriously because we need this cohesion. We need this synergy at this particular point in time. I know I'm not oblivious of the fact that because we are divided, and because we are so suspicious of each other, any act that comes up and it is not organized by us or by my group or by the other group, we definitely always set in with bashing, with suspicions, with all sorts of things. Let me put these records very straight. My people of the Southern Cameroons, survey after survey, even one organized by this same CDN, this Committee on Dialogue and Negotiations, last year, revealed that over 80% of Southern Cameroonians are determined that we no longer have to have any business to do with La République du Cameroon, that it is absolute independence or resistance forever. That survey followed on the heels of one by Cardinal Toumi, and after that survey, another one organized by legendary journalist Victor Epiengome and his group revealed practically the same result like that conducted by Christian Cardinal Toumi. This points to the fact that the majority of our people in the Southern Cameroons at all times want independence, absolute independence. But one thing is clear. Are we seeking independence only for this majority or for all Southern Cameroonians? This is an important question we must begin to answer. And why do we need to answer this question? Because we are not trying to create an exclusive society. Even those who are fighting so hard against us, against our quest for freedom, we seek this freedom and we will all enjoy it, all of us, including them if they are still alive, and their children and their children's children. And I want us again to note, when it comes to matters of mediation and negotiations, when you are getting to the table, they will not consider that this is only an affair of the majority of the people. At the negotiation table, and I say this because, from one coalition to the other, the members of the ARC, I don't say ACT, of the ARC, which was a grouping that brought together Bo Herbert's, Maurice Cho Ayaba's AG of C, that brought together the Republic of Ambazonia nationals, as well as I think about 2 or 3 other movements. Ebenezer Akwanga's SCYL then, which eventually morphed into APLM. The ARC, the members of the ARC had always made clear that when it will come to negotiations, we shall be represented on the table as Southern Cameroonians by a group of experts. And these experts shall be experts generally acclaimed by all our various castes in the Southern Cameroons, which means the experts will not be going to the table to talk on behalf of the ARC then, or on behalf of the consortium, or on behalf of the IG Sako faction or IG Ayuktabe faction, or on behalf of, whatever movement. No. When we moved from ARC, because most of the members of the ARC moved to join the SCLC. But even before then, we had the Washington Collaborative Conference. Even after the Washington Collaborative Conference, we were still absolutely clear about these notions. But it became even clearer when we put together the SCLC. At the SCLC, it was a policy that when it will come to negotiations and mediation, because the same day that we put in place the SCLC, we already had a contact to sign a mediation deal, which we did the very next day with Pave the Way Foundation. And we're all there. Comrade Bo Herbert, I was present for the consortium. Sako Samuel was present for its IG. Ebenezer Akwanga was present for the APLM. Elvis Kometa was present for the SCNC. And even those who were not present, we had made provisions to get everyone on board. And the general agreement was that it is not a negotiation of groups. No, it's not a negotiation of leaders. It's going to be a negotiation of experts. And so I hate it that each time we talk mediation, some people think that it's an affair of the various groups. No. Listen, at that particular point, we are talking here about the overall interest of the Southern Cameroons. It will not be court jesters that will be picked, or, some people seeking for relevance that will be picked to go to the table. No, we'll have to pick experts, people who have the baggage, wherever we will find them, because that will be the most defining moment in our movement. And so I get generally embarrassed that when we are having a meeting and they say some people have been invited from the civil society, being other people who appear not to have the same opinions like us or share the same opinions like us, we begin having people, eating their bodies, tearing themselves apart and things like that. We really have to have an open mind. Have an open mind, because the Southern Cameroons who want to build will be a Southern Cameroons of inclusion, not a Southern Cameroons of exclusion. I will not sit here and be doing apology for people who do not believe in the fact that we have to be free. Of course, they are already in a minority. Of course, we remind them every day that they are on the wrong side of history. And of course, it is all the same important at every given opportunity to bring them closer and remind them of the fact that what the people want is what we should all work for, which is freedom. And so, my dear people, I just read some pieces of literature before coming onto this communication, and I saw some persons were like, oh my goodness, do you bring people like Esther Omam Njomo, who is not standing and preaching independence? Are you bringing people like Reverend Funky, who is not clearly on our side? Are you bringing people like Agbobala, who is a celebrated federalist? Let me make this clear. People have a right to their opinions. We brought federalists and allowed even unionists to come to a conference in Washington, the All Southern Cameroons People's Conference, at which Bo Herbert attended, at which Sako Samuel attended, at which Elvis Kometa attended, at which Ebenezer Akwanga attended, I attended, we all attended. And we've all felt that it made sense to bring them, because we will always bring them and let them know that the majority of our people want something different from what they are thinking. Why is it that having them come rub shoulders with the leaders in Canada today becomes anathema? It hasn't got to be that. It hasn't got to be that, especially given that this particular retreat has an objective mainly to help us bond together. And my people, I want to say something that I generally don't like to say on media. But let me repeat this. How many of us in the diaspora, shy of Comrade Abdul Karim, can go be on ground zero and continue to express their exact opinion, the same opinions that the true opinions that they hold? Let's be clear here. Let's be courageous enough to recognize circumstances in which people find themselves and understand that in life sometimes there are positions that are simply circumstantial. We have to be clear about this. Just today, I was talking to some expert that I know. This is a professor with a track record of, being someone who speaks truth to power. I knew he was back home. But when I was talking to him, I was surprised to hear that he was able to escape barely 3 days before the day he was going to be killed. A lot of people cannot dare say what they think. We all know this. We don't doubt this. I want to take all of us to witness the fact that even among us, the pro-independence movement, people have come up on social media to doubt Comrade Abdul Karim. People have done that. They've come on social media to doubt the integrity of Comrade Abdul Karim. They said, why should Comrade Abdul Karim be on the ground, express his opinions, openly support the armed struggle, and nothing happens to him? Are we sure he is clean? Are we sure he is not a hidden hand? People have said that. I've seen it circulate on social media. Even some of those who really swear that they are working with him, is close to them, they say that every day. Comrade Abdul Karim attended a meeting in Biya, organized by Swiss Peace, one of the Swiss organizations saying that they are involved with trying to mediate peace between the people of the Southern Cameroons and those of La République du Cameroun. But Swiss Peace organized a meeting in Biya. At that meeting, it was not only Southern Cameroonians, because Swiss Peace is in La République du Cameroun. They have been working for quite a while in La République du Cameroun, trying to mobilize the civil society and try at the same time to see how they can mobilize the civil society in the Southern Cameroons to try and create a synergy between the civil societies of both sides of the divide, so that they can use this synergy among that civil society to torpedo our dream of total freedom. Comrade Abdul Karim attended that meeting in Biya. He was there with this same Reverend Funky and all the other people, including Barrister Agbobala, whom today he comes out to castigate his presence in Canada. My people, we have to be honest to ourselves. We have at all times to learn to have integrity when it comes to facing situations that we must face on our path to freedom. I stand unrepentantly for the absolute independence of the Southern Cameroons. But I am ready to talk to anyone, even to the devil, as long as this will facilitate the obtention of that independence, will facilitate the attainment of that freedom. We need to know this. And so, when the opportunity comes that we are screaming and all shouting on rooftops, there is need for unity, there is need for synergy. Rather than come together, we prefer to say, because I did not organize it, I am not going to be there. We go back to exactly what we have been struggling to overcome. There comes a time where we all must recognize the need to bury the hatchet and face the situation as it is. That retreat will run from today, October 29, to Monday, November 1. That retreat has a simple objective, like I said, help to create synergy. Why are international partners coming? Because I've heard some people question, why should we have international partners at a retreat of many Southern Cameroon's leaders? Of course, at every given moment that we've organized, be it conferences, be it whatsoever, we are seeking the international community because we have all been looking for this buy-in. We have all been looking for partnership, for traction on the international scene with international partners. Of course, we had international partners at the ASCPC, at the All Southern Cameroon People's Conference. We had international partners at 10. I have seen conferences, even online, organized by some member organizations of the ACT, at which they have international partners. Why is it that if another organ is organizing and is bringing in international partners, it becomes a problem? These are issues we must all face with a clear mind. We have to stop this attitude of thinking it has to be them against us. No, my people, we shall not attain that freedom in this manner. We shall not attain that freedom in this manner. I know that as the days are going by, some people who were determined that they will fight against our freedom all the way to the end are reconverting. Why? Because of our ability in several manners to either persuade them by making them see the bliss that will lie in that freedom, or they themselves are seen by day and by night by the acts of La République du Cameroun that what we have been talking about simply makes sense. What is the expected outcome of this retreat in Canada? It simply will give room for a document to be elaborated detailing common and collective demand from all frontline movements, civil society organizations, and stakeholder groups. And it will give room to come up with a memorandum of understanding detailing the principles of a collaborative framework to strengthen dialogue, which is an architecture for negotiation. We have to be able to build the bridges among ourselves, to bond among ourselves. I've never said that we should sync our various groups, movements, and organizations into one body. If that were possible, it would be ideal. But I have said we should be able to functionally set up communication channels, that we cooperate with each other, we talk to each other, we agree at least on some basic things, the most basic things that require collective agreement to move forward. Let me make this again very clear. When it will be time for negotiations, we will all have to agree on the composition of our representatives. If a huge part of a huge section, cast of Southern Cameroonians contains those who will go to represent us for the talks, it's not going to happen. We will begin having problems right there. What will be the definition of the kind of expert that we will require to represent us? These are the people who should be placed in a situation where they're incorruptible, to be able to vehicle only and only the message, the intentions, the positions of the people of the Southern Cameroons as required. This, in short, is the objective of the retreat that has opened in Canada today. I'm definitely not in Canada physically, but I will find every means to be a participant at that retreat, because it is important, very important, for us to have as many retreats as we can that will help to bring us together. We had another initiative led by a group in Canada that brought us together, and we had Zoom meeting after Zoom meeting after Zoom meeting. It led to nothing. I don't get discouraged. I keep believing that when we continue, there must come a time where you, the people of the Southern Cameroons, will begin to hold all your leaders accountable for refusing to cooperate and collaborate. Some will tell you, oh no, we already have our collaborative platform, just join us. It's the same language that Republic du Cameroon is telling us. That no, we are already there, just surrender to us. If we are speaking the same language among ourselves, how do we expect La République du Cameroon to recognize that they need to come to the table to have a dialogue or to have negotiations with us? We need to respect each other. We need to respect each other in order to expect that we have this respect coming from others too. That said, I would like to move on to another component, to one of the main issues of our discussion. I pointed out at the beginning that Mvogo, that Achille Mvogo will be buried. His funeral will run from November 3 to November 6. But it is not the date of his funeral or his funeral per se that concerns me here. What concerns me here is exactly the continuation of what I've talked about a lot regarding to the way the citizens of La République du Cameroon see us. Do our lives matter? No, they absolutely don't. When you see a newspaper published in La République du Cameroon, which goes to the newsstands, look at the entire cover page, is l'hommage de Réalité Plus au valeureux gendarme Achille Mvogo, tué à Biya alors qu'il tentait de rattraper une présumée bandite en fuite. Now, this tells us simply that the citizens of La République du Cameroon, the people of La République du Cameroon, have lies, manipulations, and everything in their DNA. When it comes to us, no. Despite the efforts of the father of little Carolers to put out there the exact version of what happened, as narrated by his wife, was a victim. The citizens of La République du Cameroun decide to believe what they want. And when you say here that Aloki tentait de rattraper une présumée bandite en fuite, so this newspaper is paying tribute to Achille Mvogo. Of course, they call him a brave soldier who was killed in Biya while he was pursuing a suspected thief who was running. Listen, Achille joined the gendarmerie just over 2 years ago, and from the day he joined the gendarmerie, he has worked only in southern Cameroon. First, he was deployed to Ndop, where he committed a lot of atrocities, and then to Biya to continue onto the act that he committed on the 16th of October. We listened to audio recordings of the bosses of Achille, his superiors who were working with him, who said he had already been a wayward soldier, and that even on the fateful day where he committed this gruesome act, they warned him not to do it, but he did. But for citizens of La République du Cameroun, no. I mean, there is nothing wrong that he did. As long as he was bringing down the life of a southern Cameroonian, the life of a third-class citizen, that doesn't matter. As long as he was hampering the lives of the perpetual slaves they should have under them, that doesn't matter. And that's why I want to congratulate some benevolent brothers of the southern Cameroons who were able to create this connection. We see, never again La République hails a murderer for killing our princess. Look here, that's why this is little Carolus here, and Mvogo the other way, to tell the world that Mvogo is being hailed for killing this 5-year-old bandit in full escape. This 5-year-old suspected bandit. If as a people, some among us still sit and call themselves federalists. I said a while ago that I will still talk with them. Some still sit and call themselves unionists. I will still talk with them. Some are not even just unionists. Some say status quo. I will still talk to them because I think that they lack a lot of understanding. Because if they had understanding, they will know from all these acts I've been talking about, from time immemorial, from all the acts that they can see themselves on the ground, that La République du Cameroun does not discriminate when they are visiting their evil on our people. I know quite some of them who have lost their loved ones in the carnage, but because of agreements they definitely have with the government of Cameroon, but because of connections that they have, or because of some pseudo advantages that they are expecting, they prefer to seal their lips and mourn in silence while claiming that one and indivisible. Just take a look again at this. It doesn't just end at Mvogo. It moves even further. See what they are doing right in the villages.
So now the thief people than this. When we see now than this, they don't catch guys civilian and see. And then this. When I see now for touch him so. When I see now than this. And then this. See civilian then where they don't catch him. Put them down. I hope the woman they see. So and then this. I'm a commander DJ. So I see their movement. We are emboscade them General Viper, Commander Breeze. We see the monitor them. And then this as
You can see here,
they don't catch civilians and put them for them.
these are soldiers of La République du Cameroon in one of our villages in Biya County, ransacking home after home, rounding up innocent civilians, asking them to sit on the bare ground, humiliating them, torturing them. At the end of the day, they will slaughter them and carry weapons and dump on them and say, this were those they call separatist fighters. These were Amber boys. That is exactly what they do. Unfortunately for them, this time they're actually caught on camera doing it. If you think it's over, just watch what they do after rounding up all these people. I'm still waiting to get the final action that they committed in this area, because obviously they will not leave from there without spilling blood. After all, we are only game and they're there to hunt. Watch again.
Where they can hide for corner house, still come up on the house. And the house that, see, and someone that, so, when I see the kind people them, where they want to say me, we and then they leave. And for touch them so, they don't start the bonbon houses them. Yeah. Anyhow, they, I make Commander DJ the talk. Therefore, they with General Viper, with Boss Cavi, with Commander Breeze. So we and them don't holla for this zero.
So, after rounding up all these people, getting them out of their houses, sitting them on the bare ground, humiliating them, torturing them, and like I said, because we've not known how they concluded that operation in that area, they went ahead, looked at them in their eyes, old, frail people, and decided to reduce their houses to ashes. Now you see the smoke rising in that little village. Right now, the young, the old, the sick, the lame, I don't know how many they even succeeded in burning alive inside their homes there. This is an act that happened on Thursday, 28th of October. That's yesterday. In Kumbo, that's in a locality in Biya County. My people, how on earth can we ever imagine that these are people that for almost 60 years we erroneously called brothers and sisters? How on earth can we imagine that these are people who are dreaming that they still want us to live with them in something called one and indivisible? If these videos don't make you angry enough to recognize that if you were standing on the fence, come back to the fold, to recognize that if you call yourself a federalist, convert, to recognize that if you're calling yourself a unionist, convert, to recognize that the only salvation for our people is to get Mr. Biya's stocks and his entire administration out of our land. My people, we are getting there gradually. We are approaching this objective. Like I said, the only thing we have to do is continue to put our acts together. The only thing we have to do is to make sure we continue to strengthen one another. Anyone around you who is trying to become weak, encourage them, motivate them, inspire them to recognize that victory lies in the continuous building of hope. That victory will lie in resilience. That victory will lie in our continuous determination. Other countries before us did this. It took years, but they got there. My people, we are moving pretty fast. We are moving pretty fast. We are moving really good. All what we need to do, like I've said, is remind ourselves every day that we need to be at peace with ourselves because we need each other in this venture. Nobody, no single group, no single movement, no single organization, not even the various armed factions on the ground can do this alone. No, we will do it together. We want a Southern Cameroons where everybody has a sense of belonging. Reason we must begin from now to recognize that our disagreements, our points of divergence should only be meant to bring us closer together because we must disagree to agree. This day, I had a very hot exchange with Comrade Bo Herbert on the social media platforms. Why? Because I believe that when he comes out and says certain things right there, and also say right there that this is wrong, people may go away with the impression that is the right thing. But even in that disagreement, we must still seek to talk to each other because we need each other. We have to get there together. We must still seek to approach each other because we need each other. We have to get there together. We must disagree because it is in disagreement that we will be able to find common grounds and the kind of common grounds that will enable us to attain our objectives. We are seeing right here where I am in the United States of America, members of the Democratic Party in Congress of the same party, they have almost been tearing themselves apart for weeks today on a piece of legislation brought to the table by a president from their party. Why? They are not arguing because they hate each other. No, they're not disagreeing because they want to fight each other or because they have disdain or they have low esteem for one another. No, they are all agreeing and disagreeing in the interest of the United States of America, in the interest of the people of America, because each person is saying, I am saying this regarding what my constituents desire, taking into consideration the interests of my constituents. That is the same way we should look at our struggle. That is the same way we should prosecute our struggle. Knowing that when we are disagreeing on this point or that point, it is because we all want to build the same Southern Cameroons, make it strong and enviable. It's because we all want to take back our territory completely from the hands of the invading forces of La République du Cameroun. Disagreements are healthy when these disagreements are being made in the interest of the people, but not when these disagreements are being made for the purposes of self-aggrandizement, for the purposes of selfish interest, or to feed egos. We must understand debate is inevitable, but agreement will always come at the end of the day if all of us truly are focusing our attention on one thing, which is the freedom of the Southern Cameroons. Because at the end of the day, the Democrats in Congress and the Senate will come to an agreement. They'll reach a deal. Why? Because their argument is meant to build, not to destroy. So my people, these are lessons we must learn. Now, let me move to the last, most important issue on this broadcast. What you are seeing on my screen, you might have seen it already on social media, but there is a deeper story behind this. This is a complaint. Look at it, it's in the form of a letter. It is a complaint issued by some unnamed villagers of the locality called Njimom. Njimom is a subdivision in the Nun division, not far away from Fumban, in the west region of La République du Cameroun. In that locality, the divisional officer is a citizen from the Southern Cameroons. The brigade commander is a citizen from the Southern Cameroons. Now, the administration of a subdivision is not made up only of a DO and a brigade commander. Let me take off this off a little bit. The administration in a subdivision in the setup of La République du Cameroun is not made up only of a divisional officer and a brigade commander. You have the police special branch that will be there. You have the national security, the police station that will be there. You have you have subdivisional delegations. At the brigade, you have a brigade commander. You have a deputy brigade commander. That's first, second, and even third deputies. And then you have the gendarmes. Well, many. It is not made up of the brigade commander. The brigade commander is only a coordinator. It's only a coordinator. Those who do the work are the troops under him. They call them éléments. Are the troops under him, the gendarmes under him. The divisional officer is only the coordinator. The job is done by secretaries, done by the assistant divisional officer, and the subdivisional delegates. But from the complaint I have before me, the impression we have here is that the entire administration of this subdivision is reduced just to two people: the brigade commander and the divisional officer. Why? Because they happen to be citizens of the southern Cameroons. And so these people are very uncomfortable that for some reason they have people in the top brass of the administration in their subdivision being people from slave origin, being third-rate citizens. And so they come out with this complaint because this is the model, as I've been told, that is going to be used across the country. If some citizen of La République du Cameroun envies your position, wants you to be removed from that position, this kind of complaint will go up about you. The complaint reads, à Monsieur le secrétaire d'État chargé de la gendarmerie nationale said. That's addressed to the Secretary of State in charge of the National Gendarmerie. And they say, note d'information pour complicité contre le commandant de brigade terre et le sous-préfet Njimom. Le sous-préfet de Njimom. Let me get this back to the screen so you see what I'm talking about. And so, in this correspondence is a complaint, and they talk of complicité. Non-dénonciation de la présence des séparatistes. I know. Some people say, why are you laughing? I laugh because it's funny. Because, like I say, I have been informed from very reliable quarters, this is going to be a pattern. So they say, the people of Njimom village are so worried, disturbed, and feel very insecure because the divisional officer of their subdivision and the brigade commander are accomplices of people they call secessionists, of Amber boys who come across from the neighboring village in the southern Cameroons to get food supplies, to get, all kinds of supplies. They say on Tuesdays, that are their market days, these so-called separatists they're talking about, or these armed guys, come in huge numbers and buy a lot of food, stuff, and that the divisional officer and the brigade commander assist them, guard them, and even make sure that they show them the various channels through which they will pass to return with all the provisions that they have bought. And that in return, the divisional officer and the brigade commander make a lot of money for themselves from the Amber boys. My people, this is serious. I want to read one particular paragraph where they say, and I put it back there. I guess if you're able to zoom it in, you can also see what I'm saying. C'est la raison pour laquelle nous, population de Njimom, sollicitons votre intervention le plus tôt possible. That this is why the people of Njimom are seeking your very prompt intervention. Le sous-préfet et le commandant de brigade, tous deux doivent partir du village Njimom. That's the sentence. That the divisional officer and the brigade commander must leave Njimom, must leave their village immediately, puisqu'ils sont en parfaite harmonie avec ces séparatistes qui s'infiltrent dans notre arrondissement. These two southern Cameroonians who, by error or by design, have been brought third-rate citizens to rule over them, must leave their subdivision Jimom with immediate effect. Why? Because they are in perfect harmony with these separatists who are infiltrating their subdivision. And then they won. En cas de non-réaction à la présente note d'information, nous, population de Njimom, allons réagir d'une manière ou d'une autre et vous constaterez les dégâts. Wow. This is what they say. That in case the government does not take urgent measures to expel from their subdivision this divisional officer and brigade commander of Southern Cameroon's origins, they, the people of Njimom, will take their responsibility and they will act in one way or the other, and the government will only observe, will only use their eyes to see what they would have done, will only see the damage. That's what they call the dégâts. The government will only take note of the damage that would have occurred. And they say, car nous sommes en danger de vie et de mort, puisque nous ne connaissons ni l'heure, ni le jour où ces individus nous surprendront. Yeah. They know neither the time, the day, nor the hour that this so-called separatists, these people they claim as separatists coming into the area, will surprise them. Now, I want us to look at this very carefully, calmly. You will understand that this letter, which is even unsigned, it's unsigned because there is not a single name there. It just ends with signé population de Njimom. This is a tract. Is in prelude to ask the plan to dispossess all citizens of the southern Cameroons living in that area of whatever property they have amassed over time. That is the exact objective. They are not only going to take care of the sous-préfet and the commandant and leave the citizens of the southern Cameroons who are based there in Njimom. And my sources inform me there are over 200 southern Cameroonians living in that village. My sources inform me there are even southern Cameroonians who escaped from the southern Cameroons because of the carnage being visited on our people by the talks of Mr. Paul Biya into Njimom village. And now what are the people saying? That the time to settle scores with them has come. This is the message J. Remingono has been passing on his channel over and over and over. That they were talking of attacks in Bafoussam, in areas of the west and all whatnot. So is it surprising to anybody that today we are beginning to see this kind of letters? They will be replicated in other areas. This is to justify the action that they will carry on our innocent brothers and sisters resident in this village. Because they will do that and claim that they had reported that they were separatist fighters infiltrating their locality. This is a case of giving a dog a bad name and killing it. I know a lot of us have seen it and we're just saying, oh, it serves that DO or the brigade commander right because they are the fact that they continue working for them. No. It doesn't target them even. Not even them. These people are requesting that these two people be removed from there to give them room to carry out the act they want to carry on our people whom they believe that if they carry out those acts now on them, the sous-prefect and the brigade commander may become an obstacle. That is the reason. This is why I have kept saying, my people, that if you are still in La République du Cameroon, in any remote part of La République du Cameroon, especially you who are in the remote parts first, begin to get out of there as fast as you can. Begin to get out of there as fast as you can. I've talked about this over and over. Some laugh at me. Some laugh at us. Some say you're being alarmist. No. I'm saying and repeating that I have been carefully informed that this is just the start. It's going to be a pattern. It will be replicated everywhere. The objective is to say that our citizens who ran, our brethren who ran into those localities are in effect Amber Boys. We first of all heard Jipo Remingono say, they say if you find above three boys, that's meaning 4, 5, living in the same house, suspect them. They're either former Amber Boys or current ones coming to hang in there to, perpetrate trouble. So, this is a clarion call. They are saying it every day. They are preparing for this every day. They are showing us these colors every day. We still refuse to believe them. We want to wait. Wait until when it is too late before we begin believing them. My people, take this seriously. Take this seriously. Don't just read and laugh. Don't just read and discard it and say it does not concern me. No. It really does concern you. It concerns all of us. Now, this last articulation, a while ago I said last, I've forgotten that we have not reached the real issue of discussion. Now, some so-called regional councillors of La République du Cameroun from the south, because they don't tell you when they report in the newspapers that they are from the south region. It's always them, only them from the south region have come together and couched a wonderful idea that it makes sense to write to the United Nations and invite the Secretary General of the United Nations to use the powers bestowed upon him to ensure that the various countries of the world where leaders and all other promoters of the independence school of thought for the Southern Cameroons live should be arrested immediately and repatriated to Cameroon so that they should be treated as terrorists. What a brilliant idea. And this is published on CRTV. That's why you see here CRTV Web. This CRTV Web. They say un collectif des conseillers régionaux sollicite l'intervention de l'ONU pour l'arrestation et le repatriement des commanditaires et financiers du terrorisme au Cameroun. Il exige que les milices qui refusent de déposer les armes soient reconnues comme un mouvement terroriste et traitées comme tel par la communauté internationale. I want to translate this. They say that the Secretary General of the United Nations should ensure that all countries in the world where we are resident, Southern Cameroonians, forget about the issue of leaders or whatever, the Southern Cameroonians, as long as you are contributing $1 or you are contributing $10, even for humanitarian activities, you are a financier. They will consider you a financier of the Southern Cameroons movement. So you fall under the same sledgehammer. And they go further to say that the United Nations should determine that those Amber boys who refuse to drop their weapons and surrender to La République du Cameroun should be declared by the international community as terrorists and treated as such by the international community. That is a prayer they are making to the United Nations. I know sometimes we'll say, don't trust CRTV. That since CRTV lies a lot, they may end up even lying that something like that happened. So that's why I took the pains to get another newspaper, to get another organ. This newspaper is actually published in English. It is called Municipal Updates. Municipal Updates says, regional councillors petition UN Secretary General. Quest for peace in Northwest Southwest. Now, Municipal Updates is a paper that is published by someone very close to Minister Paul Atanganji. And so, when you say this, don't say that, there are just some overzealous people trying to make noise. No, it is the official position of La République du Cameroun. Like I said, these are councillors from the south, mobilized by Jacques Famendongo to do this. Jacques Famendongo is in hot chili pepper with Mr. Paul Biya for huge mismanagement. There is a novel by Chinua Achebe in which he says, the people stole too much. So much so that it got to a point where the owner was forced to notice. So Jacques Famendongo had taken and taken and taken and taken. Paul Biya was sleeping, snoring, nothing. But Jacques Famendongo continued taking until it got to the point where some of the noise reached Mr. Paul Biya's ears and he opened his eyes and got up from sleep. And he's beginning to ask questions. Jacques Famendongo needs a deflection. And so, that is why you say this. He will run to his friend, Atanga Ponji, and tell him, look, you and I, we're all in this together. If we don't do something, we're finished. So you see this kind of thing. But what they fail to know is that by this single act, they are now doing exactly what they've been fighting against. They have constantly claimed that Cameroon is a sovereign country. That Mr. Paul Biya has the power all by himself to resolve what is happening in the southern Cameroons. He doesn't need any foreign intervention. They told me that they have built a diplomatic firewall around the United Nations Security Council and the Secretariat General. And so there's no day that they'll ever take time to discuss only the issue of the southern Cameroons. Today, by the force of your resilience, our resilience, my brave warriors of the southern Cameroons, chicken is coming home to roost. They are the ones, I said just a few days ago, that by the time La République du Cameroun begins getting serious nose bleeding, they will be the first to invite the international community that please come. I was talking last night with a senior official at the Ministry of Finance. He's from the south, though. It's true that he has a lot of affiliations in the southern Cameroons. And he told me, John, 95% of all development projects in La République du Cameroun have come to a halt. There is no money. He said we can pretend, we can make noise, we can claim that everything. He said the only focus now is on paying salaries. There's no other thing going on because there is no money. I say 95% of the projects in La République du Cameroon have come to a halt. There's no money. The economy, they claim it's, growing, but there's no money. The people of the southern Cameroons are draining all the money. We are bleeding the money. Yes, we are bleeding all the money. And then those who are preparing to launch a grand march in La République du Cameroon as soon as Biya closes his eyes are draining the rest and hoarding it in preparation for that grand finale. It's going to be interesting. There's no money. And it tells me we can pretend, but it's not going to take too long before it gets to the point where we can't pretend anymore. My people, they are beginning to run to the United Nations. That's interesting. They will come further. They will come full circle. All we need is to continue to be resilient. But above all, we need to make sure that our disagreements, our arguments, our quarreling should be meant to get a common ground of understanding. We need it. We need it absolutely. In my broadcast of this Saturday on the soul of the Southern Cameroons, I will talk briefly about the activities of French Cameroon social media activists targeted at ensuring that we remain permanently divided. A lot of us are not taking note. I'll talk about that this Saturday, October 30. My people, let us continue to be strong. Let us continue to be resilient. Let us continue to be determined. It is paying off. I assure you, it is paying off. Yes, we will get there. To God be all the glory.